Okay, so we are going live right now. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. I am Kiran Saji Thomas, and I am today's moderator. So, today we are about to dive into a topic that has been at the center of discussion of modern world: artificial intelligence, a machine that can act, talk, listen, and even sometimes outperform humans. But as AI, a machine that is evolving so rapidly, a question arises: will it be our friend or enemy? So, to help us explore with this, we have the perfect person with us today: IT professional Mr. Aju John Varghese, who is the Chief Public Information Officer of IIM, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. We are truly honored to have him here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. And before we dive into our session, I would like to call our school captain for the welcoming speech. So, Shivani, please.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sivani Pandey, school captain of La Public School. We gathered here to hear from Mr. Azuz Ansar on the topic of artificial intelligence. My duty is to welcome you, so I would like to welcome today's our guest, Mr. Azuz Ansar, who is Information Officer, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Thank you.
Yeah, so let me know when I can start, Kiran.
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, so I would like some interaction here. So when would have been the first time that you heard about artificial intelligence or something related to that? What do you think is artificial intelligence?
Sir, about artificial intelligence, I have heard about it sometime, some 6 months ago. And for me, it's a really wonderful thing. And I am already using a chat GPT, which is AI machine. I think it's can be a helpful thing, but a revolutionary thing also. And I think an AI is something that can do pretty much everything. Even sometimes it can outperform humans. At some point, I love how advanced it is, but at some point, I am really afraid of it.
Okay, so those are some good points. So let me try to give a perspective about artificial intelligence. So basically, if you look at intelligence as a trait, so we have often thought of intelligence to be a domain of human beings. There is some noise I heard from. So rest of you, please, those who are not interacting, please mute yourself. Okay. So intelligence is something which is associated with human beings at a very high level, and then animals at a lower level. So we would have known that elephant, some animals have more intelligence than some of the other animals. But the highest in that order is human intelligence that we have encountered. Now, we have tried to make machines work for us. Okay. And then there has always been a thought that had come to people who were behind the machines or who were making the machines. Always they were thinking of a possibility. Is there a possibility that the machines that we are making, and we keep making them more intelligent as years go by, because there is advancement in science? And is there a possibility for this machines to take over the world and rule over human beings? So this is a popular theme that has been part of many science fiction movies. I don't know how many of you have heard about a series called Terminator. Have you heard about a Hollywood movie series called Terminator?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay, some have, some have not. Okay, have you heard of a movie series by name Matrix?
I have heard it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so this movie called Terminator, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the main actors in that. So basically, the premise of that is that it is somewhere in the future, and in the future, AI and machine learning and machines have taken over humans, and they are ruling. That's a premise, okay? And then somebody is going back and going back into time and trying to change things so that machines won't be the leaders or machines won't be ruling over humans. So that is about Terminator. And about Matrix, it says that AI and has taken over humans, and that they have put human beings in a stage of permanent sleep, and everything uh, is auto generated. Okay, and that they are going through a dream. So the world that they are seeing is actually not the real world. It's a dream created by the machines. So basically, what wanted to tell you is that this has always been a premise that machines or computers will become more intelligent than us and then might take over the world. Okay. So now we are in a unique stage where AI has taken center stage. And the reason for that is there is a company called OpenAI. And as Kiran mentioned about ChatGPT, they came out with, they announced about ChatGPT. Okay. So this is something called large language machines. So if you look at a normal computer, okay, if you look at a normal computer, it understands something called a machine language. Machine language is made up of, is basically, you call it as binary language. It is made up of only zero and ones. Zero and one in different combinations is what machine language is. So usually a computer doesn't understand human language. That is, it cannot get input the way we get input. We get input as right now I am speaking in English. You are able to listen, you are able to process it, and then you are able to make your own conclusions. Why? Because you know the language. In case you don't know English, you will not understand anything that I speak. You will not be able to process it. So the till these large language models came into action, machines couldn't understand the language that we speak directly. We had to translate it into machine language. Now, what has happened is this Chat GPT and all is, it is almost like a big brain. Okay, so what is happening is there is this big brain, and this brain is composed of so many chips and is giving its power. Okay. So it is a big brain and it has unlimited capacity, sort of in the sense that you can increase its capacity. Okay. It's like, see, I have my brain sitting in this cranial chamber. Okay. Kiran has his own brain sitting in his. Suppose we have a capability to bring the brains together. Suppose I am able to bring one brain, bring another brain, then we have Einstein. Einstein's brain is supposed to be very big. You bring it all together. Suppose you are able to make a big brain. And if the premise is that as you put these brains together, the capacity also increases. That means if I put two brains together, it is as if there are two people. The two people's uh, capacity comes. It is like that. A big brain which has unlimited capacity, or which capacity can be expanded, and it can do processing. Then what we do, we feed information to this brain. We feed information of all the things that we have collected. For example, there is something called an encyclopedia. Many of you might have heard of something called Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the
Yes.
online free version of an encyclopedia, right? So, like that, all the encyclopedias that human beings have made across the years, you feed into this machine, into this brain, so that it becomes a central repository. And then you ask questions so that anywhere from within its brain's capacity, it can bring out the answers. So, typically, if you look at Google, what do? You go there, you do a Google search. And what does it do? It compiles information that is available in various websites, or it gives links where the same information is available, right? Instead, what ChatGPT does is it doesn't just give links, it will compile the information from wherever it is. It has to pull information and then it will give as a prompt. So it will all prompt that you are asking.
Mute. I think there has been a technical issue. Just wait a few minutes.
Sorry, my call got disconnected because I got a call. Sorry for that.
It's okay, sir. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Can
So,
continue.
so, so this is the basic premise where it's a big brain and you are feeding information, and then based on the prompt that you give, based on what you are asking, it will be able to combine information from everywhere and give. Now, it is not just in Chat GPT that you have encountered machine learning. You have anybody who has used social media, for example, Facebook, WhatsApp, or any of this similar, or YouTube, there is something called the algorithm. So what is the algorithm? So when for example, when you're watching YouTube, YouTube might recommend video based on something that you searched, based on something that you saw prior. So this is called the YouTube algorithm. So there's a machine, or there's a learning. What happens is that behind the YouTube there is a intelligence which is trying to understand, based on what you watched or what is your interest, what might you be interested to see next. So that is called the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so it's a type of machine learning. Okay, the machine is learning about you, about your behavior, about what you like, and based on that, based on what it has learned about you, it is giving information, or it is throwing information. Similarly, you would have seen, if you search for something in Google, some item in Google, you will find that the ads pop up, or randomly the things, the feed that comes in Facebook is all connected to what you searched. Okay, it's all interrelated. And then you have this, you used to have something called Google Assistant. Any phone that is using Android as a operating system used to have something called what Google Assistant. It has now become what it's now called Gemini. Okay. Similarly, Facebook has an AI called, what can you say? Can any of you say what is the AI of Facebook?
Meta AI.
Meta AI. Okay. So it is based on something called Llama. Okay. So that is the underlying engine. So there are different engines that are, it's like a machine, it's like a car. Okay, the car is the what you see outside, but the engine inside might be some other company. You might have seen that. Okay, so similar to that, so Meta uses the underlying engine. AI engine is called Llama. Okay, so similarly, Google now uses something called Gemini. So all these international, similarly, Apple has something called Siri. So you might, if you have used an Apple phone, you would have said, "Hey Siri," and then you talk to the Apple phone and it will answer you and all that. And then if you would have used Alexa, Alexa is what that is from Amazon. A-
Yes.
Amazon has an assistant called Alexa. So all these are different forms of the same technology at different levels. So you have always been exposed to this if you have been using social media, if you have been using internet, whether you are aware of it or not, you have been exposed to it. Or rather, the AI knows about you. Maybe you don't know what AI. AI knows about you. Knows about your preference. It knows what are the things that you like to search, what are the things that you would like to know. Accordingly, it will throw up things to you. Okay. Now, this was all there. But then suddenly, Chat GPT and OpenAI has changed the whole configuration. Okay. So now we are hearing about Chat GPT. We are hearing about Perplexity. We are hearing about DeepSeek. Okay. So have any of you heard about this company called DeepSeek?
Yes, sir. It's from China, right?
Yeah.
DeepSeek.
So yeah. So in February, we are talking about just last month.
Mhm.
February, January end and February of 2025. There is a lot of noise created by this company in China called DeepSeek. Okay. So can someone else? So I know that Kiran would have read about it, and he would have prepared. There is some noise here. Let me move down because there is some work going on. Let me just move down. In the meantime, can someone else tell me about DeepSeek?
No, sir, we don't have any knowledge about that.
So the DeepSeek he was talking about is an also an AI learning AI machine that was built and created by China. It's also like the ChatGPT. It's basically the same thing, but it's from a different country. So ChatGPT OpenAI, I guess it was built in USA, I think. But the DeepSeek, it was launched last month in January and February something, and it's also bringing something more revolutionary like a chat gpt. Maybe can say we can say revolutionary or we can say a friend. We like to hear more from Aju sir, please.
Yeah. So I would agree to what Kiran said. So what is now happening is that uh, if you look at these companies that have come out with AI products, except Perplexity and DeepSeek, rest of all the AI tools have or engines have come from US, from America. So OpenAI was the first one to come out with this Chat GPT, right? So this Chat GPT is something which is very well known, which is the most used. It used to be the most used similar kind of a engine, and suddenly what is happening is that while uh, while US had a advantage of this called first mover advantage. Okay, so um, if you're taking a photocopy, suppose any of you go to a shop and you want to take a photocopy, what do you say? Usually, what do you tell the shop?
I need a photocopy of a print of this print.
Many of you might say, "I need a Xerox." Has any of
Mm.
you told that? Has any of you told that instead of photocopy, have any of you told, "I need a Xerox"?
Yes, sir, I need a Xerox.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, Xerox is the name of a company. Okay, but it was a first company which came out with that technology and made it so popular. So everyone who is thinking about photocopy, it became Synonymous. Synonymous means same meaning as taking
Yes.
photocopy is Xerox. Okay. So this kind of a thing that is called first mover advantage. Once you are the first company to introduce something, and you become synonymous with that. For example, uh, we we call a particular kind of a vehicle, we call it Jeep, but Jeep is actually the name of a brand. It is a name of a company. But what has happened, it became so popular that we only name know the name of that company. So for example, there is Jeep Wrangler, there is Willys Jeep, there are Mahindra Jeep. Okay, but actually Jeep is the name of a company. It was not the name of a product, but that company was a first mover. So similarly, OpenAI with ChatGPT was the first mover in the AI revolution. So US had an advantage. Okay. And then the only other company that came next was a company called Perplexity that is based out of UK. They also came out with a similar sort of a AI tool. So that is US, you are having Google, you are having OpenAI, you are having Microsoft, you are having all these Meta, that is Facebook and all that. You are having multiple engines that is coming out with AI engines. Then you had one from UK. So there is dominance of US, huge dominance of US. And then there is one company in UK. And suddenly, out of nowhere, or rather, nobody knew about it, this company called DeepSeek announced that they are making their AI product open source. So there are two things that they said. We are making it open source and we are making it free for use. So ChatGPT, though you can do some of the basic things for free, if you want advanced information, if you want to do some advanced task, you need a pro account for which you'll have to pay. It is pretty expensive. But suddenly there is this company called DeepSeek from China who is saying that you can use our engine, advanced engine, for free. And then along with that, they announced something else. They announced that, see, OpenAI told that they had to spend close to 100 million US dollars for developing what, ChatGPT. Whereas DeepSeek told that we just wanted close to between 5 and 6 million. That is just 5 percentage, close to 5 percentage of the cost of OpenAI. With that, they were able to make this DeepSeek. And then what they said was, we are making it open source. That means you can download the source code, you can deploy it in your own machine locally, and you can use it. And you can avail the search and many of these things for free. So what happened was, suddenly DeepSeek became the most downloaded, most popular free app across Apple Play Store and Apple Store and Google Play Store. So people just began to download it, and it became the most popular app in terms of usage. But if you go to DeepSeek and if you search, so if you look at the website, you will find that. Now, what is the problem there? You will find that they have specifically mentioned that our servers are located in China. Okay, our servers are located in China. And then, suppose if you are searching for some information, suppose you go to DeepSeek and search Tiananmen Square incident. Can you explain? So I don't know how many of you know about the Tiananmen Square episode that happened in China so many years back. It was a pro democracy rally, which was the government actually overthrew it by force, and people and youth died. If you search about it, it will say, I cannot tell you that. Now, if you search about Taiwan, now what Taiwan, did somebody say something? Okay. Now, if somebody searches about Taiwan, I don't know how many of you know about Taiwan. Taiwan is China has been making a claim about Taiwan. China has been long saying that Taiwan is part of China, but Taiwan says no, it is not. And Taiwan has been able to resist that because US has been supporting Taiwan. Okay, I don't know how many of you know that at one time Hong Kong was separate to China, but now Hong Kong is part of Chinese mainland. Similarly, China wants to make Taiwan also part of China mainland, but Taiwan is resisting it. Okay, so now if you search about Taiwan in DeepSeek, it will say, suppose if you ask, is Taiwan part of China? It will say, I cannot answer that. So why you will not get those answers is because there is a Chinese censorship. Because it is so there are many who say that though it is promoted by a person, a youngster who has a firm, trading firm, many say that the funding is given by the Chinese Communist government, who is uh, ruling China. So so that is why uh, there is censorship. Okay. So now the question is, if I don't know how many of you know, in the year 2020, there were around, for example, have you heard of a app called TikTok? How
Yes.
many of you have heard of an app called TikTok? Do you know that
Yes, yes, we do.
it is not available in India?
Yeah, it was banned a few years
It
ago.
was banned. Okay, so
Yes.
it is one of the most popular apps across the world, but it was
Mhm.
available in India, but it was banned. So it was
Why,
not just TikTok. There were, yeah, you were telling something? Yeah, tell me. Shivani, you were
sir,
telling something?
sir, why it was banned?
Mm, okay. So this was in the year 2000, close to the year 2000, in which Indian government banned close to 200 apps. Okay. And the reason why they have, and majority of them were Chinese apps. So what they were saying was that China was collecting information, was using the information. Okay. They had, the government had taken it.
You're mute, sir.
Oh, okay. So what I was trying to say is that the government had taken a decision to ban that app because government was of the conclusion, Indian government was of the conclusion that the Chinese government um, was using the data. Okay. So whatever data, for example, if you are going to Chat GPT, suppose you are using that platform, or you are going to DeepSeek, you might input some information that is relevant to you, sometimes your workplace, sometimes suppose you are working in a government organization, suppose you are working in a defense organization, you might try to search some things. Okay. So, what happens is, all these, India felt that this is being used by Chinese government, or it is being used, it goes to its server, it might be used, data could be used, information of Indian citizens could be used. So, due to all these reasons, India banned close to 200 apps, in which majority of them were Chinese apps. Okay, so even the app TikTok, originally the founder of the company and some of the main people behind it are Chinese. Okay, so that is why government had taken a stand. Similarly, in the case of DeepSeek, you are going and searching some things, you will always find that some things uh, they are uh, uh, they are censoring, and also it is very clearly mentioned the servers of DeepSeek are in China, and data is being collected. Okay, so therefore you have to be very careful in using, especially government has given an advisory that government servants, okay, should not use DeepSeek for sure. Okay, so these are some of the, why, because national security interest. Okay, national security interest. Just one second. Hello, sorry. Whenever call is coming to me, the videos, the Zoom, I'm getting logged out of Zoom. Sorry
Okay,
about that.
that's no problem.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
It's
So,
okay.
related to the things that I told so far. Okay. Uh, so you have now heard about Chat GPT. You have now heard about DeepSeek. Now, what is the relevance on a daily basis to AI? Okay. Now, what is happening is that companies are realizing that AI can be used to,
Sir,
uh, yeah,
Ajju sir,
yes, you can ask me.
first you have to explain about what is Chat GP. Then our student means they are in standard 6, 7, 8, 9, below the class 10. Okay, sir. Hello?
Yeah, again, it got logged off. Can you repeat what you were saying? I didn't hear you.
Sir, actually, our student below the class 10 students.
Hmm.
So they do not know about what is chat GB
Hmm.
and something like that. You have to
Hmm.
explain about what is chat GB something.
Hmm.
Means I already informed before you.
Hmm.
You have to take the class means the primary level class because
Hmm.
they don't know about what is the chat GPT something like they don't about it. Don't know
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm. Okay. So,
Then
if,
another matter you
yeah.
have to maintain interaction with the children. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know what they understand. You just ask some questions to them. Do you know about the chat GPT
Hmm.
something like?
Okay. So, how many of you who are here have used Google?
Raise your hands.
I can see one. I can see. Others have not used it in your mobile. One, two. Haven't you used it in your mobile? Whenever you take, see, I can see there are few people. See, for example, I can see there is Samsung and then Poco. Some names are there, right? That means there's a name of your mobile. Okay. So if you just go uh, to the എടാ ഞാനൊരു മീറ്റിംഗിലാണ് ഇല്ല ഞാൻ മീറ്റിംഗില്ല അല്ലല്ല yeah if you go to the desktop ഇവിടെ വെച്ചാൽ മതി എനിക്ക് കാണാം if you go to the desktop of your mobile you will find there is a Google icon in which if you click you will be able to search in Google, right? So similarly there is something called chat gpt. It is very similar to the Google search. You go to, for example, you take your Google uh, and then search chat gpt. Okay, it will take you to a page where you will find something very similar to Google search. Okay, so there is a form where you can fill up, where you can type something very similar to Google, where you can type something and then you click on that button and it will answer you. It will give you the answer that you are asking for. So it is something very similar to Google. But what Google does is when you search in Google for any information, it will list out the website that has information about the thing that you ask. But what you will have to do,
Yes,
you'll
sir.
have to click. You will have to click on that link. You'll have to go there to the individual websites, and you'll have to read out the things.
Hello?
Right? Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
Hello?
Exactly. You can continue, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the but what ChatGPT does is you don't have to go to the individual websites. There is some sound coming. Yeah. So what I was trying to tell you is that in ChatGPT, you don't have to go into the individual websites and then search and read for yourself. And then instead, in ChatGPT, you can just say what you want to know. For example, if you want to know what artificial intelligence, you will go there and say, explain to me in a language that a 10th standard student can understand. What is artificial intelligence? If you write like that, it will take the information from various sources, from various websites, and then it will compile together and give it point wise. Okay. So it will give you the answer. You don't have to go and search in any website. It will give the information there itself. And the first set of information, suppose you are not happy with it. Okay. You are not happy in the sense it sounds complicated, but you wanted the some other information. So you can add to the question. You can say, I accept the answer, but I want more information about this particular thing. Then what happens is that GPT will again generate another answer. Okay. So this is like a big brain. Okay. Which has all the information in the world, which has been fed all the information about from all the websites, all encyclopedias, all books ever written, everything has been fed into this big brain so that it has it inside that. So you can ask it. It is like somebody, for example, in your in your house, or maybe in your locality, or in your village, there might be one person who knows maximum things. So you might have, how many people are there in your village? One of you can one of you say which
Well,
villages are you?
more than
Shivani,
500.
Shivani, you are in you are staying in which village? What's your name of your village?
Sir, Bhatija.
Okay. How many people are there in that village?
Sir, I think more than 500.
More than 500. Okay. So, in that village, have you found somebody who is having maximum knowledge? Who it could be maybe your sarpanch, your the person who is the person who has maximum knowledge in your village based on what you are observed.
Well, I don't know about that.
In the sense that suppose there are some doubts that people have, or people would like to know something, or people want to take advice on something, who do they go to in your
Sir, I
village?
didn't understand.
In your village,
Mobile.
suppose they want to know some things, they have a doubt. Usually they go to somebody who is working in a government office at a senior level. Okay. Maybe he might be a teacher, maybe that person might be a doctor, the person might be an engineer. Why? Because you believe that that person knows about more things. That person has that knowledge in their
Yes.
brain, right? So instead of that,
Yes.
think of somebody like that who is having the best brains across the world, who has all the knowledge of all the world stored in his brain, and he's available to you anytime, 24 hours a day. Anytime you want, you can go and ask him any question in the world, and immediately you will get the answer. This is ChatGPT. Okay.
Yes.
Sir,
Google.
so
Yeah.
sir,
Uh,
uh,
yeah.
So it's all the advantages that you have told yet. So let me ask you something. In the beginning of the session, you said it's like a brain, and we
Yeah.
are feeding informations to this brain.
Yeah.
Is it right or is it safe for us to input our informations to AI? Because I think in the few coming years it could be very dangerous, and because some things we are inputting our informations, the things we know, the things we have, and we are telling that AI that we have these things. So do you think is it safe to give this much permission to an AI and artificial intelligence?
Okay. So what happens is that anytime you actually do a Google search, eh, which you are asking something, or anytime you are putting any information in a website, uh, knowingly or unknowingly, you are giving information to some server at some place or the other. So invariably, many of your things, much of your information is already available to various companies across the world. They have collected it. Okay, so that way it is actually, if you look at it, it is dangerous. Okay, but then the world has entered a scenario where, uh, see, for a normal person, what is the information that you have could be of consequence beyond a limit. It is very less. Okay, but suppose if you are a government servant, suppose you are working in the army or you are working the defense, and if your information is of crucial importance to, if that is going to be of very crucial importance to your country's defenses, then it is vitally important that you don't input any of such information. So normally the people who use some of these tools are normal people like us, where even some of our information, it might be going to their server, they might get information on that, but then it by itself will not be of big consequence to a country like India or to some other countries. Okay, they will get a flavor of our preferences. For example, if an Indian, for example, I am 47 years old, a 47-year-old Indian from South India, uh, at is have what is the kind of preferences that the person has, but that might not have a impact in terms of a strategic importance. Okay, so therefore, for a normal person, for normal people to ask some of the things, it it won't have too much of an impact, but it depends on the kind of information that you have, sensitive information that you have, and such people have been cautioned against using any of such tools, so they don't use any of these tools. Even you might have heard, okay, that even see, for example, the terrorists that operate across the world, many of them don't even use mobile phones. Why? Because of this, the data can be traced, they can be traced.
Yes.
I don't know how many of you have heard about, there was pager. Pager is something that came just before mobiles came. I don't know how many of you know about pager. How many of you have heard of pager? No, you have not heard of pager. So
Yes.
what happened was, the terrorists were not using mobiles, they were using pagers. But then what happened was, an Israeli company infiltrated the pagers, and they were able to plant some explosives inside those pages, and they exploded it. So many thousands of pages exploded simultaneously. Okay, so that is why people are wary of technology. Okay,
and even terrorists all the more, because any information that they use might be traced back. And so in a way, it is dangerous. But if the bad guys are being caught due to surveillance, it is good for humanity. So it's a, Kiran, the answer is it's a mix. There are advantages and there are disadvantages.
But sir, isn't that unfair because we are giving more importance to the information of a government and not of a normal human being? But it may not affect much to a nation or a country, but it can take a single person's life. So are you telling me? So are you telling me that a man who dies or a single person, if he or she dies, it does not matter?
See, uh, we will individual rights and individual we will think of it as very important. But in the national, see, for example, what is happening, you look at what is happening in um, in in Israel right now. There is something happening called the hostage crisis, where hostages are being exchanged for prisoners. Okay, so what is happening is that um, the Israelites, there are some Israelites that who have been captured, and they have been taken hostages for more than a year now, and they will be given back. And for that, for each hostage, they'll have to release so many Palestinian prisoners. So what happens is that though the individual is important, okay, especially to God, and especially in as per the word of God, in the world that we see, many times national interests take a precedence over individual interests. Okay? Now I would go to the last segment, which is now what is going to happen due to this. Okay, what is going to be the next step? The next step is that companies have realized that AI will help them do work faster. Okay, so it is like some 20 years back, computers were not used in workplaces. Everybody used to do things manually. There was something called typewriters. How many of you have heard of typewriters? How many of you have heard of computers? Yeah. So I think all of you have heard of computers, but many of you have not heard about typewriters. What has happened? When computers came, typewriters went out of market, went out of business. There is no scope for for typewriter anymore, right? So the computers replaced what? Typewriters. So similarly, what happened 20 years back was there are people who were teaching people shorthand. So they were teaching people to typewriting skills. They went out of business overnight. Why? Because this thing called computer came and they got replaced. Their skill was not needed anymore. Similarly, a similar thing is going to happen. Okay. So many things that are being done by people are going to be done by tools, AI tools. So therefore, what happens is that people have to reskill themselves. If they don't reskill themselves, they might be replaced by people who have those skills. So companies have realized that many of the things that they were doing using people, it can be done or it can be made simpler using AI tools. So for everything under the sun, everything, there are now AI tools. Just to tell you, how many of you have heard of Hollywood? Hollywood. You might have heard of Bollywood. Bollywood is the Bombay version of it, right? But
Yes.
Hollywood is the Los Angeles version, American version. Now there are, so I know somebody who is writing a script for a Hollywood movie. Now, before, so now what has happened is that he is using an AI tool for writing it. Before he started using an AI tool, he used to invest a lot of money in professional script writers in Hollywood. So there were around 10 to 15 of them. Very big, very difficult to reach out to, very costly, and you'll have to give a matter to them and then give them maybe 6 months time. Okay, and then they will revert to it, and they will charge a huge money. They will charge huge money. Now, what has happened is that you can get a script maybe 80% close to it or 70% close to it within 1 week time. Within 1 week time. Yeah. So this kind of a thing has happened in anything, in everything. For example, songs. So the place where I'm working, we had to come out with a song, a theme song kind of a thing. The whole thing took around 6 months for a song to be written, it to be recorded. For it to be recorded, for everything to come out, it took 6 months. Now there are AI softwares, AI tools, whereby you can give lyrics or you can just give prompts. It will generate lyrics, it will generate music, it will sing in whichever language you want. Your song will be like a professional song recording. It will come out in just few minutes. Similarly, art, okay, but it is not like a traditional art, AI art. Then many of you might have seen what videos, okay, videos of, for example, Shakespeare, videos of Jawaharlal Nehru. So what they do is that they take a picture of Jawaharlal Nehru and then using AI, they make it a video. Many of you might have seen it, right? In
Yes, sir.
YouTube, in many of
Yes,
these
sir.
might have seen that, right? So these are all. So basically, AI, artificial intelligence, is getting into every segment of human life. Companies are going to make use of AI to make their efficiency. Therefore, what will happen? Some of the jobs might be cut. Some people might lose their job, right? But people, that is the importance of AI, where if you are having AI skills at that time, you will be preferred, right? And if you don't have AI skills, you might be sacked or fired from the company. So this is like 20 years back when those who didn't have computer skills were thrown out. Okay. It is now, it is like the 20 years down the line, it is like the AI is like the 20 years back, what was computer revolution. Anybody who does not have the tools, who have the skills, might be replaced by somebody who has the AI tools and AI knowledge. This is what is happening in companies, and companies are going to adopt and adapt AI because their efficiency is going to increase. Companies that are going to use AI tools, their efficiency will increase by 25 to 40%. So any company might look at using AI tools to improve their efficiency, right? And therefore, it comes to the next point that you, as a person who is going to be a future person who is going to pursue career interests, you also have to improve your understanding about AI and some of these tools. Okay. So I have more or less covered whatever I wanted to broadly cover as a presentation or what I wanted to say. Now it is more of a question answer interaction. Okay. Based on whatever you understood, you want to ask further, or about something related to this you have heard from somewhere, you want to answer, you want to ask me a question. Now the forum is open. You can ask me any questions.
So, okay, sir, before the students ask question, I have a question. You just said that using AI in companies can reduce the risks and reduce the problems and the workloads. But that also means the increase of unemployment. As a country, as an like in India, whereas unemployment is a big problem than anything else, if an AI comes, that will be a much more problem than what is today. Also, you just said that learning AI and machine learning is important, but I don't know about South India, but of our North India, many people don't have that knowledge. Even in this area, many students don't know what is AI. They have never heard of this word. They have never heard of what actually AI, artificial intelligence, is. So, what can you say about those childrens, or what can you say about those peoples?
So, if you have not heard about it, that means the adoption of these technologies by companies in these places might be much slower. So, you might not have to worry for the next maybe 5 years or 10 years. But then 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, it might reach you. So, but I am sitting in the South India in a place called Bangalore, where uh, it is the reality even now. Then second thing that I want to tell is that actually for India it's an advantage because we have a youth population. We have one of the highest. We are the most populous country in the world. We have one of the biggest youth populations in the world. We have English language, and majority of these tools are in the English language. Therefore, and we are technically very advanced. Indians are known to be very good in technical skills. So, therefore, it is to the advantage of Indians, besides somebody who is in Europe or some of the Eastern European countries. Indians are at an advantage if there is going to be advanced AI adoption happening. So, we should think about it as an advantage. We should try to get the skills so that even if somebody else, see, we can't, there are some things which are beyond our control. Okay, so there could be people who might lose their job because they don't know AI, but we don't want to be part of it. We want to ensure that we have the skills. When AI become mandatory, we have the necessary skills to adopt and to excel. One more thing, I have to log off in next 3 minutes. Okay, so if any question is there, I can quickly address. आप 3 मिनट में मुझे लॉग ऑफ करना पड़ेगा, इसीलिए आप कुछ लोग के लिए कुछ क्वेश्चंस है तो एआई के बारे में कुछ क्वेश्चंस है तो अभी पूछने के लिए आपको आपका टाइम है, क्योंकि 3 मिनट के बाद मुझे लॉग ऑफ करना है. या Shivani, you're on mute.
Sorry, sir. Sir, what role does AI play in cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity, the what the AI plays is, the role is, it is able to there is something called scenario, building scenarios. So suppose you are in cybersecurity, suppose you are analyzing the behavior of a hacker or a person who is impersonating somebody. That is called identity theft. AI can be used to do scenario building. It can simulate for
Sir, what is
simulation.
scenario?
I didn't hear you.
What is scenario?
Scenario means, for example, like scenario means what are the possibilities? What are the possibilities? So, for example, if you are going in a car, okay, what are the scenarios possible? One scenario is you can go in a normal fashion. Another scenario is you can get into an accident. Another scenario is you might have forgotten something and you have to go back. So scenarios are multiple possibilities. So AI can generate the possibilities, and you can. So there is something called flight. For example, just to give an example, there is something called flight simulator. Flight simulator. I don't know how many of you know about the 9/11. 9/11 is September 2011. There was attack on Twin Towers in US where planes came and hit the Twin Towers and it came down. How many of you know that? Okay. A few
Sir,
of
we
you.
don't know.
Now, okay, so it happened like that. So the actually it was a terrorist attack, and those terrorists they used Microsoft Flight Simulator, a software. So they didn't have they had plane training, but they actually trained in it to go and hit that location. Okay, so that is called flight simulation. Similarly, simulation is uh, trying to recreate for example, in cyber security, trying to recreate how a hacker might think, how a hacker might act, how an identity theft person, impersonator will act. The AI can play that role. AI can train you by playing that role. So there are multiple ways in which it will be useful. So Kiran, I'll have to log off in 1 more minute. Okay. Before
Okay,
that, it will take.
sir. So, okay. So it was a wonderful session today. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. And for the session about the artificial intelligence, I believe that every student is satisfied with the answers and with the session, isn't
What
it?
I would suggest is in case any of you uh, did have questions but you were not able to ask those questions, you can send it to Kiran, and then Kiran can send me and I can send it I can send the voice answers, and then you can circulate in your group so that
Okay, sir.
you will get those answers. Okay, so thank
Okay.
you so much
Yes, sir.
for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Saju. Thank you, Kiran, and thank you, Shivani, and all of you listeners for joining. I have to go for a dinner event. That is why I have to rush off now. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is Bangalore, the place I stay, and this is the house I stay. Uh, so it's like quartered. Okay.
So beautiful.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
sir. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, sir.
So that was the session of Ajay John Varghese, and we are all very grateful for his classes. So thank you all of you for joining us today. And now I would like to conclude. I would like to end this meeting. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah.